when you got hired to be the GM, Taylor, he was my guidance counselor in high school. So
That's the most the most wild shit.
Guidance counselor to NFL GM. How in the do you make that climb to get to where you are now?
Because I really don't even know your story. Like the Arnolds, the Arnolds, like they would always kind of keep me up to date, and I didn't really know what you were up to. And they're like, "Hey, do you know like Zig's like number 2 at the Patriots?" I'm like, Ziegler? My high school counselor Ziegler? Like, yes. And so I would see you, but I low key feel like you try to sabotage me every time we played the Patriots because I played there 3 times. 2 out of those 3 times I saw you, I did not play well.
Rough goes.
Rough goes. The one time I didn't see you was the 2019 playoffs.
Yes. Yeah.
I kept to myself, and I balled. We balled that one. But he would text me.
That was when you're playing chess with Dante Hightower.
Yeah, I lost.
Well,
actually, no. I went 500.
You had a great
500.
game,
yeah. I mean, I definitely got some early onset cussies.
A lot of guys.
We hit you with a lot of twists, a lot of line games and stunts, communication. You got to pick it up.
Yeah,
we got you a couple times.
I'll tell you, and we just had Max on, and he was talking about how we were talking about Chandler Jones, obviously, and obviously what happened to me when he was at the Cardinals.
Yep.
But I was like, hey, even when I was healthy, like the one player that's kind of had my number the whole time has been Chandler Jones.
Yep.
He's
long lever guy.
Yeah.
Super awkward mover.
Yes. Unorthodox. That was like the word we used.
Changes speeds all the time.
Yeah.
He is a tough one to block.
But go back to you're a high school counselor.
Yep.
You're a high school counselor at Chaparral High School in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yep.
I come see you my senior year. We can go into all my stuff in a little bit, but I want to know how you made it to a GM of possibly the coolest franchise.
Yeah. Wild journey for
Right.
sure. So when I met you, obviously I was a guidance counselor at Chaparral High School, special teams coordinator, running backs and tight ends coach.
You're definitely getting after dude's ass in high school, being
buddy.
a special teams
Big
coordinator.
lipping.
No doubt.
Getting after dudes before
Had
practice.
my cards drawn up. Like we were getting after it. And then prior to that, I'd always been, before I got to Chaparral, I'd been coaching at the high school level. I was a social studies teacher. And then at one point, I kind of, football had always been like number one, I played in, all the way through high school. I played in college, small college, all that stuff. And then, before I got to Chaparral, I wanted to get more into college football. So I GA'd at John Carroll University, which is where I went, coached receivers there. And then I was there for 2 years, and then I took the big move up and went to 1AA and went to Iona in New Rochelle, New York, coached wide receivers there, coached special teams. And I was finishing my master's degree in school counseling at the same time. At Iona, I was only making called restricted earnings. I always tell kids out there, do not take a position that says restricted earnings.
Yeah.
That was
that sounds bad.
That was $7,000 for the year.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, for the year. And so I was like, this wasn't really cutting it. And I had my master's degree. And again, so we'll get to this, but Josh McDaniels and Nick Caserio, who's now the GM of the Houston Texans, we all played college football together. And so I'd really never wanted to use them to try to level up, if you will. I was kind of trying to make my own way and do my own thing. And so eventually kind of ran out of places to go. Iona was $7,000. I just finished my master's degree in school counseling. So I was like going to go back out to Arizona where I'd been before. And I ended up at Chaparral. And so to be honest with you, when I was at Chaparral, I was trying to start to make some moves of what else can I do? So I had interviewed for a player development position at Arizona State. I'd started a little LLC on the side, All-American wide receiver training. I was trying to train some receivers on the side and stuff like that.
That side hustle piece.
Yeah, so I was trying to just figure out my way. And to be honest with you, again, it's who you know. I was a bachelor party in Arizona. I was coming off the 18th hole. Just finished a glorious round with the boys.
Yeah.
And had a voicemail from Josh McDaniels, who had just got hired as the head coach of the Denver Broncos. It was his second year. He'd been hired the full year, and I had a voicemail, and it just said, hey, have this scouting assistant position opening. I want you to come up and interview for it.
What year was this?
This was 2009.
Okay, so this is all right.
The year after you'd graduated.
I graduated in 2009.
Yes.
But it was 2008, then 9.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And I didn't really even know what scouting was about, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, like I've been a fan of the NFL, but you know, like when you're growing up, you don't really know that there's a scouting department and how it's all built on the other side. You see the players and you see the coaches.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to coach, so I really didn't even know what it was about, but I was like, yeah, I'm about to go up and do this interview.
So initially though, you're wanting to be in the coaching ranks.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I was trying to make my way. You know what I mean? And that's when I went to the Arizona State thing as player development. I was trying to get into player development so then I could probably try to get into coaching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And get my foot in the door at a bigger school. And so anyway, I go up and interview and again, he's the head coach, you know what I mean? But it was a painful interview. Like it was like getting grilled for like 6 hours, had to write up all these reports. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I get the job.
Yeah.
The job turns out to be taking guys to the airport, taking guys to go get physicals, making sure that the depth charts in the pro director's office was organized, making these point of attack tapes, which is like a strengths and weaknesses tape that we do on all the draft prospects. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, that's how I got there. So it was, again, a long journey of always being involved in football and trying to find my way. And you know, again, I was coaching high school in Ohio. Then I coached high school for a couple years in Arizona. And then I left Arizona and I went to John Carroll and I GA'd for 2 years. And then I left being a GA for 2 years and I went to Iona. Then I left Iona and I moved back across the country and ended up at Chaparral and trying to figure out this path. And then this thing kind of got dropped on me and
18th hole. Probably a few deep too.
Few deep.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
picking up your buddy calls you.
Let me listen to this a couple times.
Yeah. Like you're not hearing it right.
Yeah.
You want me to do what?
Yeah.
So how many times did you go through the interview process before? Like, was it like 2 interviews? Like you get callbacks for that?
It was 2 interviews.
2 interviews.
Yeah, and then I got the call back and got the job, and then it was crazy though because that year, that was the year Josh got let go. He got let go like 7 months into me being in the NFL for my first year, and then I stayed on for 2 more years in Denver with John Fox. Amazing dude. If you've never worked for John Fox. John Fox is one of the all-time greats. Like just he's awesome. And then, you know, went from there to New England and, you know, now I'm here with the Raiders. So
what made you figure out that was the
path.
area or the path you wanted to kind of stay in versus trying to get back in trying to wiggle back into the coaching ranks?